I've seen. And that includes Bryce's first year. And the main reason why I say that is because our expectations have changed since Bryce's freshman year, so to say. But anyway, hello, Panther fans. Timmy V.O here with the Panther Comms podcast. Monday in the box. You know, chunk plays was the primary culprit here. And the reason why I say that is, obviously, you know, if your opponent's offense is moving the ball down the field in large chunks, not only are you making your opponent's defense, you know, recalculate, reorganize, you have them on their heels. If you were watching the game, the Saints kind of got up into a hurry-up situation after they got some of those chunk plays and had our defense scrambling a little bit. You know, the Saints were extremely aggressive this game. I mean, you could see you could see the difference. They were coming at it on the run game, on their defense, that is. They were coming at it. They were not playing around when they made contact. The running back, the receiver, the tight end, whoever, they were going down. They had our passing concepts down to a science almost. There were not a lot of clean windows, and in some instances, unfortunately, Bryce just locks on to the receiver, and it's just a cascade of events. But those chunk plays, you know, obviously, if you're turning those into points, which the Saints did for the most part, when you have those chunk plays, folks, yeah, there's a psychological element to that too. But anyway, thank you so much for checking out the PantherCons podcast. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do. I appreciate it. You can also catch me, obviously, if you're listening on Spotify, iHeart Radio, Podchaser, all those other platforms. We greatly appreciate you guys coming on here. Well, I greatly appreciate you guys because this is a one-man show. I greatly appreciate you guys coming on here and checking us out, especially after an L like this. This was disgusting. Disgusting. So let's jump into the numbers, folks. Let's jump into the numbers because by golly. And as always, shout out to static.nfl.com. I'm utilizing, as always, their official, the NFL's official box score breakdown. They have substitutions and all that good stuff. So here we go. We'll start with the just the basic scoring plays. And the reason I'm going to start with this is because, you know, it just gives you an overview of what happened during that in terms of plays. So the Panthers scored with the Rico Dowdle run. You know, we went up first, 7-0. Woohoo! Everybody's excited. That was 12 plays, 67 yards, 7 minutes. That was a great drive. Then the Saints had, you know, a 10-play, 78-yarder. The group. And then Olave, you know, when unfortunately when JC slipped the first time, and then Johnson the second time, but the Olave had a 62-yard pass from Shough. That young man played his ass off today. I gotta give kudos where it's due. I'm not a hater. That young man plays some polished football for a rookie. Now, granted, he's almost 30. But he looked good out there, man. He did. I even think Evero underestimated this kid. To be honest with you, we weren't that aggressive in getting to him, and when we did get to him, we didn't take him down. There was a lot of missed tackles in this game. You know, and the Saints prove why they are second in, you know, tackles. I mean, their defense is on the field quite a bit, especially coming up to this game. But hey, when they hit somebody today, they were going down. The same can't be said about the Panthers, but nonetheless. But the Johnson was the last score. Obviously outside of the field goal. This was the touchdown. Yeah, this was ugly. There was 72,000 people at that game. You know, everybody was talking about, hey, Panther Nation, show up. I work weekends, so chances of me going down to a Sunday game is just It is what it is right now, folks. It is what it is right now. I'm a member of the Roaring Riot, have been for several years, my wife and I. But actually physically getting down to the game now is tough. Now I was going back, 2012 to the 2016 season. I was going down there a couple times. That's why I was working in the school system. But now, yeah, it's a little bit tougher. This is a busy year for me. But enough about me, even though it's a lot more interesting than the Saints lost. God Almighty, what the hell happened? Okay, individual statistics. Now here comes the blame game, right? Alvin Kamara had 83 yards total rushing. His longest rush was 16 yards. I remember there were days, matter of fact, last year, he ripped our defense apart for some crazy running numbers. Collectively as a team, they ran for 122. Our run defense is better. You cannot say it is not. That was the primary goal going into this year. I'm still glad we are. Okay? But chunk plays. Okay? Key to the game in terms of the Saints win, obviously, is shutting down our run game. Rico Dowdle with 18 attempts for 53 yards. Yes, I said that correctly. 18 attempts for 53 yards. 2.9 average. Yes, he had a touchdown, but it was only 5 yards. Out. Yeah. We could not get the ball going on the ground. And it kind of, well, not kind of, it's disheartening to see that Coach Canales cannot steer away from the fact that you're not getting the run going, so let's go to a different type of look. I think 4 or 5 wide in terms of wide receiver looks would have been a lot more beneficial. But at the same time, folks, you have to realize that when you go further down the chain on your roster, a lot of those guys are playing special teams as well. So that's another aspect of the whole, player management thing that comes into play there. Coker looked good out there. I believe he caught everything that was thrown his way. We'll get to that in just a second. Teteroa, of course, he showed up. XL was Xavier Legette is just, I don't know if it's a sophomore slump. I don't know. I don't know. He had a false start, one play, and a target in the end zone. I'm wishing that he could have got both hands out for that. I'm pretty sure he probably could have caught that. He just doesn't seem dialed in. He doesn't seem dialed in. I'll check out the game film, obviously on all 22, and get into some video breakdowns. But it just seems like XL's not dialed in like he was last year for some reason. Is it because of Teteroa? I don't know. But anyway, yeah, our run defense was not the problem per se, but our running offense was definitely the problem. Rico Dowdle with less than 3 yards average per carry. Who would have thunk? Now, here comes the I said this on the TikTok video. Bryce Young played like absolute dog boo-boo. He was sacked twice for a loss of 22 yards. His longest pass play was 26. He had a 62.8 quarterback rating. 25 attempts, 17 completions. Now, the rookie for the Saints, 27 attempts, 19 completions for 282. Most of that, well, he was well into the 200-yard range when they went into the half. 282 with a 62-yarder, mind you. And again, that was when JC either slipped. He either slipped or he was pushed. The film don't lie. We'll see that. We'll see that very soon. But he had twice the quarterback rating as Bryce, a 128.9. If I'm not mistaken, I believe is that perfect? Is that a perfect quarterback rating? I don't think so, but it's pretty darn close. No, he was sacked twice, though, by the way. But again, the chunk plays. And those chunk plays came during third downs a lot of the times, and which kept the chains moving, which kept the offense off the field, which meant we couldn't get into a rhythm. All these things matter. I saw somebody on social media talking about there was a There's a graph in the halftime comparison between the Saints quarterback and Bryce. And they typed no context needed. Excuse the heck out of me? Really? Context not needed? Then it's purely emotional. Bryce Young did not have a good game at all. At all. But leading up into this game, he has put us in positions to win week after week after week after week after week. When Rico wasn't running for all those yards, he was putting us in position to win. It is what it is. And it's funny. Bryce was bringing us back into situations to win, and he was also putting us in positions to lose because he was turning the ball over. This has not been a good year for Bryce. Now I'm talking it through. This has not been a good year for Bryce. He has his moments, and then he has his moments. I'm not sold out on Bryce. He's human. He didn't have a good game. And again, I really think the coaches didn't put this offense in position to, or the defense for that matter, to. Well, I don't know about that. When a quarterback extends plays and the pass rush doesn't get there, but there were some defensive breaks. So yeah. This was a full team just debacle. This was garbage, top to bottom. But back to the statistics. The Saints quarterback played like Tom Brady today. I mean, he looked standing tall in the pocket, nice base, putting a pretty touch on the ball, and he was just dropping into the zone, whatever zone Evero put out there. He was putting it out there. The kid got a good touch on the ball. It is what it is. The Saints obviously, they almost had two receivers with 100 yards. That young man Johnson. And their receivers were catching the ball. This is crazy right here. So Olave, all right, their leading receiver obviously had 104 yards receiving, a 62-yarder, five catches off of 8 targets. Okay, he was averaging 20 yards, 20.8 yards. Does that tell you something? Okay. Johnson for the Saints, 4 of 4, 100%, 92 yards, 23-yard average. 52-yarder was his longest, and a touchdown. They both had touchdowns, Olave and Johnson, by the way. Kamara, 3 of 3, 32, 26-yarder. And if Moreg, I believe that's what that was, didn't jack up that old lineman that was in front of him kind of guide him left or right, so Kamara couldn't get a dead straight line going towards the end zone. He's running to the end zone. So shout out to Moreg on that one. I mean, Jesus Christ. Another receiver for the Saints, 2 of 3, 1 of 3, 1 of 1. I mean, he was tossing that ball around, dude. Folks, he was tossing that ball around, and then you hop on over to the Panthers. Of course, nobody got a touchdown. So there's that. We didn't allow a rushing touchdown neither, by the way. Just saying. Teteroa, he had 8 targets, 5 catches, 60 yards, 12-yard average, 26 was his longest. Sanders, the tight end, was 5 of 5, actually. He caught everything that came his way, 32 yards. He only had a 6-yard average, but that's what I was hoping Coach would do more between him and Trimble. Get this, ladies and gentlemen. Trimble didn't have a target. Evans left the game with an ankle injury, by the way. Hope he feels better. I really think that Canales came into this game thinking that they were going to run the football and there was not going to be a problem. I'm looking at the targets. There are only 1, 2, 3, 4. There are only 4 receivers with more than 3 or more targets. That's not distributing the football. What the Saints were doing, that's distributing the football. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They had 6 individuals with 3 or more targets. That's having a game plan and executing. You're going to spread that ball around so the defense cannot pinpoint on a particular issue. We held the run in check, but he still had 83 yards. But we held the run in check, but that pass game, they were dinking and dunking on us. And getting to the quarterback, not making them play, not bringing them down. That's sad. They had 282 yards total with their receivers in their pass game. We had 124. That's pathetic. Good Lord. That's sad. Team statistics. Yay. Third down efficiency, we were 3 of 9. That's not like us. And we did not convert a fourth down. We only went for it one time, but we did not convert a fourth down. The Saints converted 2 of 3 on fourth down. They had 17 third down attempts, which is crazy because the time of possession was only 7 minutes. They had they had it for 33 minutes. We had it for 26. They had almost twice the third down attempts than we did. Now, granted, we also, well, you know what, that carries over with the two turnovers from the Panthers, the interception and the fumble. And I hate that JC didn't realize that was He doesn't have a lot of packages. I don't understand why he didn't think he was going to. Did he just not hear the play right? Was he not focused? 'Cause I think he could have done some damage if he would got that ball in stride. Oh man, this was just an ugly game. Ugly. Total net yards by the Saints 388, Panthers 175. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. And this is another thing that bothers me about this game. The Saints had 6 penalties for 60 yards. We had 1 for 5. And we still only scored 1 touchdown in the first quarter. Didn't score for the remaining 3 quarters. This team was not well prepared for this game. The energy was up when they started. I just don't understand why Canales did not kind of see that continuously trying to run the ball in the A gap was not going to be advantageous. We needed to get those linebackers out in space, all right, and make them pay for that pass rush coming off the edges. There was a couple times Bryce stepped up in the pocket and they were bending the edges, and he could have stepped up and scooted out either right or left, at least move the sticks. He did that one time, if I'm not mistaken. The energy was not the energy. Execution was just different. The Saints looked like they really wanted it. It's kind of like that Buffalo game. That's exactly what that reminds me of. If you look at if you have time to, I'm a junkie. If you look at the Buffalo game and the Saints game, you'll see that the energy was different. Different, I mean, our product on the field. They brought it. The Saints brought the heat, like especially on defense. They were not playing games in their front seven. They were not playing games. They wanted to frustrate Bryce by having a spy on the edge, because they knew he liked to throw those out routes and get the outside portion of the hash. And they had spies out there just waiting for him to throw the football and just batting it down in the first quarter, first half. They didn't do that quite as much in the second half, but they just want to get him off his rhythm, frustrate him, hit him a couple times. They didn't care. I guess they didn't care about the penalties, and it worked. Bryce never got a rhythm. They shut the run down, and our defense kept giving up chunk plays. It is what it is. Wow. The Carolina Panthers had 10 possessions. With those 10 possessions, we had 1, 2, 3, 4. We punted the ball 4 times. Of course, we had the field goal that was blocked. We had the fumble, and then we had the pick. That pick was that was such a bad time to have that pick. The Saints were literally giving us this game. I think that's probably far more frustrating than anything else. The calls, blocked field goal, and it went past the line of scrimmage and touched a player, and the Panthers fell on it. Therefore, it's the Panthers' ball. It's all these things, and we could not get the ball in the end zone again. We had the ball for 8 minutes and 20 seconds in the third quarter. we could not get it done. Could not get it done. It's a shame. The fourth quarter, we kept, we kept shooting ourselves in the foot in the fourth quarter. The Saints had the ball for 11 minutes and 31 seconds in the fourth quarter. We had the ball for 3 minutes and 29 seconds. This was, I'm really surprised that we just played this poorly. That did not look like a Panthers team that wanted to win the game. This was wow. It's a reminder that we're not who we were last week. I'm not gonna say we're not who we thought we were, because I knew this team was not just gonna go out there and dominate. This team has the potential to win. They do not have the potential to dominate anybody. The Falcons caught us on a good day, and they were at the wrath. This Saints team was not playing games, and they showed up, especially on defense, and we could not get it done. We could not get it done. I'm looking at the Saints defense statistics right now. Yeah, Shepard and Jordan each had a sack. They each had a tackle for a loss. Of course, Taylor had the pick. A couple, 3 pass deflections by the defense. Yeah, this was bad. I don't know what else to say about that. Our leading tackler was Moreg. Surprise, surprise. Tackle for a loss, quarterback hit. This is horrible. It really is. It really is. So yeah, Panther fans, here we go to next week. I believe we're playing the Falcons in Atlanta. They're going to want payback. They lost a tough game against the Colts across the pond. So they're I'm sure they're feeling a kind of way right now. Hopefully Wallace will be able to play next week. We'll see about that. But yeah, this was an ugly game, and the numbers show it without a doubt. We cannot go to Atlanta playing like this, where it's going to be another bad day. So thanks for checking out the PantherCons podcast. And again, if you haven't subscribed to this podcast on your favorite platform or the YouTube channel, please do. I don't get paid for this, but I like to have a community around this podcast and all that good stuff. I'm all about sharing, and sharing is caring, and caring is sharing, and all that other stuff. Keep your heads up, Carolina Panther fans. By God, we're going to keep pounding. So thanks, guys and gals. Be safe out there.